Some houses whisper in the wind, some creak in the night. But this house? It watches, it waits. Once you step inside, it never lets you leave. Beat of silence, distant whisper. Tonight, we enter the house of the dead. But the real question is, will we ever make it out? The house stood at the edge of town, hidden behind towering trees and rusted iron gates. It had been abandoned for over a century. The locals never spoke of it. They knew better. People who entered never came back the same. If they came back at all, the legend said the house was cursed, not by ghosts, but by something far worse. Something that didn't just haunt, but consumed. On a cold October night, for friends, James, Rachel, David, and Lisa drove past it. The car's headlights illuminated the twisted iron gate, tangled with dead vine. A gust of wind howled, shaking the ancient trees. James, always the reckless one, grinned. This is it, the house of the dead. Rachel shivered, hugging herself. We should keep driving. David laughed. Oh, come on, Ratch. It's just an old house. What's the worst that could happen? Lisa, quietest of the group, hadn't said a word. She was staring at the house, her face pale. I don't think we should go in, she finally murmured. But James was already pushing open the gate. It groaned in protest. The others hesitated, then followed him inside. The moment they stepped onto the grounds, the wind stopped. The air became unnaturally still. Then the front door creaked open on its own. Inside, the house smelled of decay and dust. Their flashlights flickered as they scanned the grand hallway. High ceilings, cobweb-draped chandeliers, broken furniture covered in white sheets. A large staircase wound upward, disappearing into darkness. Portraits lined the walls, their painted eyes following the group. Rachel wrinkled her nose. It smells like something died in here. Lisa barely breathed. Something did. James laughed, kicking at the debris. All right, let's split up and explore. Meet back here in 10 minutes. Rachel shot him a glare. Have you never seen a horror movie? That's how people die. David smirked. Relax. There's no such thing as ghosts. As soon as he said that, a loud thud echoed from upstairs. The friends froze. James turned toward the staircase. That was probably just the house settling, he said, but his voice wavered. Then came the whisper, soft, distant, impossible to tell where it came from. You shouldn't be here. Rachel grabbed James' arm. Let's go. Now. But the front door was already closed. As they explored deeper, the house seemed to shift. Hallways stretched longer than they should. Doors led to places they hadn't seen before. The paintings on the walls changed. The faces in them weren't still anymore. Their mouths twisted into sinister grins. Lisa stopped suddenly. Where's the exit? David frowned. We came through that hallway, didn't we? But the hallway was gone. Only endless darkness stretched before them. Then James saw it, a shadow at the top of the stairs. Not a person, not quite, just a tall, dark figure with empty, hollow eyes. It stood still, watching them, and then it moved. James grabbed Rachel's hand and ran. The others followed, their panicked footsteps echoing through the halls. They turned a corner and stopped. The same shadow stood at the end of the hallway, waiting. Lisa whimpered, "It's playing with us." The lights flickered, and then the whisper came again, closer this time. Run. They ran, stumbling into a door that hadn't been there before. It led downward, a basement. James yanked it open. Better than staying up here. They rushed down the stairs. The moment they reached the bottom, the door slammed shut behind them. It was pitch black. Rachel fumbled for her phone flashlight. The beam flickered, revealing dozens of old dolls lined up on dusty shelves. Some were missing limbs. Others had cracked faces. But all of them were staring. Lisa's voice shook. "We need to get out of here. Then one of the dolls blinked. Rachel screamed. Suddenly, the walls began to move. A low, guttural growl rumbled through the room. The shadows shifted, slithering toward them. David pounded on the door. "Let us out." But the house had other plans. Lisa fell to her knees, whispering, "It's not haunted. It's alive." The whisper came again, right behind them. Yes, Lisa's body convulsed violently. Her eyes rolled back, her mouth stretching unnaturally wide. James backed away. "Lisa?" She rose slowly, her movements inhumanly jerky. When she spoke, it wasn't her voice. "She's gone now." David grabbed Rachel. "We need to go now." They turned to run, but Lisa's voice roared. "Stay." The entire basement shook. The floor cracked, revealing a pit of writhing hands reaching for them. Shadows poured from the walls, their twisted faces screaming. Rachel tripped, her leg getting pulled toward the pit. James grabbed her, yanking her free just in time. David swung the basement door open. Light flooded in. Lisa screeched and collapsed. They didn't look back. They ran. They burst through the front door, gasping. The house behind them loomed, silent once more. The wind had returned. The air was normal. It was over. Or so they thought. Lisa, who had been unconscious, suddenly sat up. Slowly, too slowly. Rachel hesitated. Lisa turned toward them and smiled. But it wasn't Lisa's smile. It was something else. A voice whispered, carried by the wind. "You left something behind." James' blood ran cold. Lisa's eyes were still black. Then the house's front door creaked open, waiting. Some houses aren't haunted by ghosts. Some houses are worse. Some houses never let go. If you ever see an abandoned house, if you ever feel like something is watching you, keep walking. Because once you enter, once you let it see you, it never forgets. And someday it will call you back.